Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview Sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. With me, as always, is the inventor of the infomercial and the original shark on the hit series Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington. Kevin, thanks so much for being here.
Seth, great to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to an exciting guest today. Let's have some fun.
Yes, we got a very special guest today, Brad Blazar of CapitalCon. Brad, thanks so much for joining us.
Great. Thank you so much for having me, Seth. It's a pleasure to be here with you and Kevin today.
All right, let's dive right in. Brad, tell our wonderful Sharkpreneur Nation who you are and what you're doing, because you're up to some really cool stuff.
Sure. So my name is Brad Blazar, and what I've largely been involved in most of my career is working with people in helping them understand how to attract and how to raise investor capital. I learned this skill at a very young age when I was in my 20s. I was basically going to college, and while I was in school, Seth, I responded to an ad in a local newspaper in Austin, Texas, went to work in the oil and gas industry, and my job was basically to raise investor capital for this oil company so that investors would have the opportunity of investing alongside of us. And this was, of course, back in the early 1980s when the tax laws were a little different. But I learned a skill that has stayed with me largely my entire life. And from that point, fast forward, over the course of my career, I've raised well over $2 billion. I've raised it from all sources: high net worth, accredited investors, family offices, broker dealers, sovereign wealth funds. And today I get the pleasure of consulting with people all around the world on how to attract capital. It's one of the big problems I feel entrepreneurs and business owners face, because at some point you get to a certain size in business. And the question is, how do I get bigger? And Kevin knows this, of course, from Shark Tank. You have many people that come into the tank that are pitching companies that have been around, and they need new capital to really scale and grow and get to the next level. And so at CapitalCon, we're bringing some of the best of the best. We've got this wonderful event where we're bringing people like Kevin Harrington, of course, one of the original sharks. We're bringing Dave Seymour, who, of course, is Kevin's partner from the hit TV show Flipping Boston. We're going to be talking about real estate investing, how people can get started in real estate, how they can scale their business into the next stage, which is multifamily. And then we're bringing some great financial literacy experts, people like Sharon Lechter, who worked alongside Robert Kiyosaki and co-wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, where they sold 42 million copies. People like Dr. Kevin Elko, who is more of a mindset coach, but is hired by major NFL and college football teams to really inspire and motivate the players, and is largely credited with taking Alabama to the national championships, or, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl. And so really, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you're a CEO, or you're just somebody that wants more abundance in life, you really need to check out CapitalCon, because this is going to be the place to be on April the 16th and 17th.
Hey, Brad, that great explanation. I'm excited about it. That's looking forward to being part of it. And I think you said it very well. You mentioned, Shark Tank. People come on Shark Tank. What they want money, right? But, I have seen people seeking money make a lot of mistakes. Mm-hmm. And this is what we're going to teach them at CapitalCon, is how not to make those mistakes. I mean, because, for example, as a shark, so many people came out and they just expected that the sharks owed them an investment. Like, you have to invest in my business, as opposed to coming up with a credible pitch that make sense, and understanding that investors have many other places to put their money. So, you have to give them an irresistible positioning of why the investment is needed now and why it can be so powerful. But do you have, maybe you could share a couple tips for those that are listening right now that might be thinking about attending or want to attend or what they're going to hear, but the mistakes that people make when they're pitching, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen almost every single mistake you can make, Kevin, as I've consulted with people and as I've dissected what they've either done or what they're doing. So many times people will come to me and they will literally have invested 6 months, a year of their life trying to raise capital, and they've either floundered or failed. And really what I have largely found is it comes down to a couple of things. Number one is it comes down to not being adequately prepared. You get in front of an investor and you're not prepared to pitch. You don't really know the numbers inside and out of your deal, or you come to an investor and you don't have what I call the collateral material that really communicates to a potential investor what it is you're trying to do, and more importantly, how that investor can see success by aligning themselves with you. That's one of the big problems. An investor, you have to understand, is looking perhaps at a deal a little differently than you are because you're so closely tied to it. It's kind of like the analogy I give to people is sometimes it's better to be the person outside the box looking in than the person inside the box looking out. You're so closely tied to your business that many times you're not able to see things that an investor might be looking at. And so one of the things that you're going to learn at CapitalCon is, number one, really how to prepare yourself to pitch and to go in front of investors. Number two, you're going to learn the things that you need in order to attract and close investor capital. And then number three, one of the big things is you'll come away from CapitalCon understanding something that I call the trust sequence. It's the process somebody goes through in building trust in a relationship with another person, because at the end of the day, nobody is going to invest with anybody until there's, number one, trust, and number two, there's a relationship. And so we're going to teach people how you build that trust, how you bridge that gap and build a relationship with a potential investor so that ultimately they want to attach with you, affiliate with you, and give you the capital that you need in order to be successful.
Why do you think so many people get it wrong?
Here's the problem, Seth. I've seen this so many times. So many people are so excited about what they're doing, and they're so excited about the opportunity to get in front of an investor that they start pitching the deal prematurely. They rush the process before they've ever established any trust and built any relationship. And that is one of the biggest mistakes I commonly see. It's, the first time in front of a prospective investor and all of a sudden you're pitching the deal. Well, that person doesn't even know you yet. They haven't vetted you yet. They haven't validated you in their mind as somebody that is credible or somebody that can act as a fiduciary. And so by rushing the process and moving too quickly with a prospective investor, many entrepreneurs, many business owners actually kill their opportunity to raise capital. The biggest thing I can communicate to people that want to raise investor capital and do it well is slow down the process. Really get to the point where that prospective investor has basically connected with you emotionally. See, here's the thing. Our brain has two sides to it, right? It's got basically an analytical side. It's got an emotional side. When you're raising capital, what you need to do initially is basically appeal to the emotional side of the brain. You need to get that investor excited about your opportunity, get them excited about what it is you're doing. And then eventually, once you build that trust, the analytical side will kick in and justify the decision that that emotional side has already made. That's really largely the secret to successfully raise capital, because let's face it, at the end of the day, the art of raising capital in a big way is sales. Let's face it, it's sales. You got to ask for the order. You got to close the investor. You got to say something like, Kevin, does this look like the type of opportunity you could see yourself investing in? And then hopefully you're able to get that person to move forward. When somebody does not invest, I typically find it's due to fear. It's the fear that they're going to invest the money, they're not going to be able to replenish or replace it. It's out of fear that maybe you're a dishonest person, they can't trust you. It's out of fear that the investment's not going to work. And so what I largely like to do, Seth, is I like to put that fear right in the middle of the kitchen table. And once you bring it out in the open and you address it, you can then come to closure. Because typically at the end, of course, of any investment conversation with somebody that's a potential investor is you've got to bring it to a closure.
Hey, Brad, will you have at an event like this? I know you mentioned speakers and all of those kind of people, investment banks. There will be check writers there, though. I assume,
absolutely, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Most definitely. I anticipate roughly 75, 80% of the people in this audience, both virtually and also in the live attend in person, to be check writers. These are people that are real estate entrepreneurs, that are business owners, that are there. That's largely one of the reasons we have sponsors that are going to be at the event as well. We have multifamily sponsors that are going to be there with booths and with tables and exhibits. We have qualified custodians so that if people are interested in learning how to invest in things like real estate inside of their IRA account so that they can grow that capital tax deferred, those experts will be there. We have all these multiple sponsors that see the benefit of being at CapitalCon because they realize, like you said, Kevin, there will be check writers in the room, there will be investors in the room. And so the networking and the communication alone that will take place there at the event over the day and a half, well worth considerably more than the price of the ticket just to get in the door.
Nice.
Did you start CapitalCon?
I started CapitalCon actually with an idea earlier last year. What happened really, Seth, is we started basically this coaching mentorship program called Capital School. Today, we have students all over the world that have enrolled that are basically now learning the process of attracting capital, how to put together their deal, how to structure things properly, many of the securities regulations that they have to be aware of. And I said to myself, we need to have an event where people that are either enrolled in my program or that are not can come over the course of 1.5, 2 days to really surround themselves with people that are doing this on a regular daily basis. People like Dave Seymour, right, from the TV show Flipping Boston, who today, along with Kevin, is raising capital from investors for their multifamily funds in Freedom Investors. People like rock star Robert Martinez in Houston, who's got roughly $450 million in multifamily. And so by surrounding yourself with people that are doing it and doing it in a big way, you're only going to come away from CapitalCon with more knowledge, with better skills, having learned many of the mistakes that other people have made in their journey. You know, one of the things that I tell people that hire me as a coach is largely what you, Seth, are paying me for is my past. You're paying me for all of the knowledge that I've accumulated over my past that I can share with you so that you avoid the mistakes. I can help you bridge the gap and I can help you get to a level of success that I've already attained and help you get there much faster rather than trying to figure it out largely all on yourself. That's the magic of coming to an event like this.
Yeah. And so, you know, on Shark Tank, people, they would pitch and they, you know, Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, right? I always ask the question, do you know why he calls himself Mr. Wonderful? Because nobody else will, okay? He's the only one that thinks he's wonderful. Now, you have to learn, I say that you have to learn how to pitch different people different ways. You don't pitch O'Leary the same way that you pitch Barbara Corcoran or a hedge fund the same way you pitch an angel, vice versa, right? I mean, there, you know, at the end of the day, there's certain facts and figures that they all want to see, but they're also, I say there's sweet spots of some investors, right? Yeah. So how do you teach that? Like how to modify the pitch based on who you're pitching?
Absolutely, Kevin. So at CapitalCon, you're going to learn a number of things. Number one, you're going to learn that as you're building your presentation and as you're pitching, you need to build to what I call an inflection point. An inflection point basically is very important in the presentation process because what that does is it builds a presentation to an emotional high. One of the other things I also try to teach people is this concept I call FOMO, which stands for the fear of missing out. It's explaining to a prospective investor that we have an opportunity that may or may not be available for a long period of time. So if you're really interested, you've got to act quickly and you've got to get in now while this opportunity is available and right in front of you. These are things basically that I've been using as tools over the course of my career to largely raise the $2 billion in capital. And one of the things that I explain to people that want to raise money is basically the psychology behind the process. any good closer or any person that really is hugely successful in sales understands that behind the framework of sales, there's a lot of psychology. Most people that are closers know the takeaway sale is one of the strongest closing techniques one can use, because subconsciously people want what they perceive they can't get. And so when you start using tools like that in the discussion with a high net worth investor, you significantly increase your chances of securing capital you need. But we're going to teach all of these things at CapitalCon. We're going to be basically teaching people how to attract investors, number one, which is the most important thing, because obviously you have to attract them. Then number two, the most important thing, Kevin and Seth, is what to physically say to people once you're in front of them. We're going to give you basically a script almost with a series of questions so that it almost becomes subconscious to you as you're having a discussion with investors, so that you really don't have to think about the process. It all comes down to what I call mastery, right? I've done it so long that for me, it's second nature, much like it might be for you as well, Kevin. You know, it's kind of like a basketball player, like a Michael Jordan, when he's shooting a shot from the foul line, he can do it almost with his eyes closed.
Right.
We want to get people to the point where they have practiced this, rehearsed it, so that when they're in front of a prospective investor, they don't blow it.
And one of the things I know I'm going to be sharing, because I review thousands of pitch decks, right? Sure. I'm going to teach people how to write a pitch deck to get money. So, I mean, that's, you know, so, you know, I know you know how to do that too. And maybe we can both do that session together, but writing a great pitch deck, a great, you know, the perfect pitch, the art of that is powerful. And we're going to be teaching quite a bit down there. So, yeah, it's, I'm looking forward to it. I know the dates are in April.
We'll put all the information below in the show notes. Brad, for our folks who are watching or listening and want to learn more about CapitalCon, where is the best place for us to send them?
The best place to send them, Seth, would be basically to the CapitalCon landing page that we've created. That landing page is www.bradblazar.com, which is my personal website. Brad Blazar is B-R-A-D, B like boy, L-A-Z like zebra, A-R, not E-R, A-R.com with a backslash CapitalCon. And there we have all the information about the event. We discuss, of course, what you're going to learn while you're there. We have a number of videos. Kevin did a beautiful, of course, video explaining what we're going to be going into. One of the other beautiful things that we'll be doing at CapitalCon as well is previewing the movie Think and Grow Rich, which of course is Napoleon Hill's book, which has been brought to life. Sir John Shin worked very closely with Napoleon Hill's Foundation. We have people like Barbara Corcoran, of course, one of the sharks as well, that's in the movie. NFL great Warren Moon, people like Grant Cardone, Tim Story. It really brings the entire book to life. I've seen it now multiple times and just think the world of it. And so we're going to be sharing that with the audience at CapitalCon as well.
Hey, Brad, do me a favor. I don't know. Was I in the movie that you saw? Because
I don't know that you were in the one that I saw, which was the same one with Barbara, with John Shin.
Okay, because I shot at John Shin's house, my segment, and they had put out they were just coming out with the movie. So there's two versions, one with me and one without me. But the newest version is the one with me. So let's make sure that you have that, because I Think and Grow Rich was the first book that I read that gave me some great motivation to be an entrepreneur. And that's why I wanted to be give my quotes in the movie too. So
absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you brought that to my attention. I will definitely reach out to John and his team to make sure that the preview that we actually released there at the event is the second, I guess, most recent that has you as well. There might be other speakers in there as well that were not in the original. And so I'll make sure that we're actually getting the most recent one that we're sharing with the audience while we're there. Absolutely.
I started on the tour with John on the Think and Grow Rich media tour. Sure. So I started speaking. I went on that tour to begin with, and John is a great guy. So looking forward to seeing the movie too. So
all right. Well, thanks everybody for watching or listening. This has been Seth Greene with Kevin Harrington and Brad Blazar. Make sure you check out bradblazar.com/CapitalCon. Check out the event. Guarantee that you will absolutely come away with what you need to know to raise the next level of capital to grow your business. Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll see you next time.
Great. Thank you so much, Seth.
Take care. Bye-bye, guys.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.